Myanmar conflict update and analysis, Junta's renewed offensive and PDF resistance, October 21, 2025. As of October 21, 2025, Myanmar's civil war has entered yet another volatile phase. The military junta, facing nearly 4 years of resistance since the 2021 coup, has launched one of its most coordinated offensives in the southeast. The new wave of attacks, particularly concentrated in Knda state and along the Thailand border, marks a calculated attempt by the junta to reclaim strategic ground that had fallen under the control of the People's Defence Force, PDF, and ethnic allies. According to regional updates from Myanmar News, The Nation Thailand, and The Star Malaysia, the Tatmadaw has achieved a series of short-term tactical gains, though analysts caution that these may not translate into sustainable control. The ground situation remains fluid, with constant exchange of fire and shifting front lines. This report examines the military advancements, resistance strategies, and the wider humanitarian and political implications through a combination of verified sources, field insights, and cross-analysis from defense researchers and Myanmar observers. The Lay K Core resurgence, symbolic battleground of the revolution. Lay K Core, a small but symbolically powerful settlement in Knda state, has once again become the focal point of Myanmar's struggle. This area was originally designed as a peace town, established jointly by the government and the Karen National Union (KNU) in 2015 as a place for refugees and displaced Karen families. However, since the 2021 coup, Lay K Core transformed into a stronghold for joint operations between the Karen National Liberation Army (KNLA) and local PDF units. The junta's recapture of SHWE Knda camp on October 17 and Swel Tor Cone camp on October 18 represents the culmination of months of targeted strikes, artillery bombardments, and drone surveillance. Field reports indicate that these operations were supported by multiple battalions from the 22nd Light Infantry Division. Junta forces advanced under the cover of heavy monsoon cloud, using artillery to suppress resistance strongholds. By October 19, the Tatmadaw declared complete control of Lay K Core, displaying their flag over the hilltop of Point 1078, which had been held by the KNLA PDF alliance since 2024. However, the victory was not bloodless. Resistance groups under the Karen National Union's Brigade 6 claimed to have inflicted substantial casualties, citing at least 40 soldiers killed in ambushes along the Moe River corridor. Local witnesses described burning villages and mass displacement as civilians fled toward Misot, across the Thai border. Aid volunteers from the Free Burma Rangers reported new waves of refugees crossing the river at night, carrying children, the elderly, and basic belongings, while junta patrol boats opened fire to discourage crossings. The battle for Lay K Core, therefore, represents more than a territorial contest. It is a struggle for narrative dominance. For the junta, reclaiming the town offers an opportunity to project power and demonstrate capability after months of strategic losses. For the resistance, its temporary loss highlights the imbalance of firepower, yet also the enduring will of local militias that continue guerrilla operations despite heavy odds. The KK Park operation, Power and Profit along the border. One of the more surprising developments in October 2025 has been the junta's seizure of the controversial KK Park complex. Located near the Myanmar-Thailand border, KK Park had been associated with online fraud, illegal gambling, and cyber scams run by transnational networks, many of which had allegedly flourished under protection from both local armed groups and corrupt security officials. For months, the area was under the loose protection of PDF-affiliated units that reportedly allowed limited operations in exchange for financial contributions to the revolution. The junta's operation to retake KK Park was not merely a military maneuver, it was an economic one. By reclaiming the site, the military sought to cut off a stream of informal funding to resistance movements. According to reports from The Nation Thailand and The Star, junta forces detained over 2,000 people, including workers, technicians, and private security staff. Authorities seized 30 Starlink satellite units used for communication across the border and confiscated multiple hard drives containing data on financial transactions linked to Chinese and Thai clients. The KK Park seizure underlines the junta's renewed focus on controlling border economies. These areas are lucrative, generating millions of dollars through trade, taxation, and illicit operations. Retaking them provides the military not only with propaganda victories, but also with access to much-needed foreign currency as Myanmar's formal economy continues to collapse. Yet the operation has raised concerns among regional security analysts. By eliminating the semi-autonomous zones previously run by armed groups, the junta risks pushing these criminal networks deeper underground, making them harder to monitor. Meanwhile, displaced workers and civilians caught in the raids are now stranded in detention centers near Mayawadi, facing uncertain futures. Central Myanmar, persistent air power and attrition warfare. Beyond the southeast, the junta's operations have intensified across central Myanmar. Reports from Myanmar's October 21, Spring Revolution Daily, reveal coordinated air and ground strikes across the Sagaing, Magway and Mandalay regions. Helicopters, fighter jets and long-range drones have been deployed to target PDF logistic banks, drone production units and command nodes. One of the heaviest bombardments occurred near Mying Township in Magway, where resistance forces had established underground supply bunkers and makeshift drone hangars. Eyewitnesses described entire villages being reduced to ashes following airstrikes that lasted for hours. In Sagaing, Yinmarbin Township, soldiers conducted clearance operations, executing suspected PDF members and burning homes. The use of air power has become the junta's principal method of compensating for its thinning manpower. Analysts from the Institute for Strategy and Policy, ISP Myanmar, estimate that nearly 40% of the army's operational forces are tied up in defensive positions, while the rest rely heavily on local militias known as Payus or HT. These pro-military groups often accompany regular troops in raids against resistance villages. While the junta boasts of success, field data tell a more complicated story. Despite reclaiming certain camps, the military remains overstretched, facing resistance in over 200 townships nationwide. The Council on Foreign Relations Conflict Tracker for October 2025 notes that the junta effectively governs less than 1/4 of Myanmar's territory. The rest is controlled or contested by PDFs and ethnic armed organizations like the KIA, AA, and KNLA. Thus, the junta's current offensives appear designed less for outright victory and more for signaling strength to its troops, international observers, and domestic supporters within the shrinking military elite. Humanitarian fallout, the invisible frontline. With renewed offensives come renewed waves of suffering. The United Nations and other humanitarian agencies have warned that the junta's southeast campaign is triggering mass displacement not seen since 2022. Thousands are now sheltering in border camps across Thailand, where access is limited and aid coordination is fraught with political sensitivities. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, estimates that nearly 2.6 million people are internally displaced across Myanmar as of October 2025, a sharp rise from 2.3 million earlier this year. In the southeastern corridors of Kayin and Mon states, food shortages and medical crises are escalating as the junta restricts cross-border aid flows. Health workers affiliated with the Karen Department of Health and Welfare, KDHW, report outbreaks of malaria and dysentery among displaced children. Schools have been destroyed or converted into makeshift camps, and many teachers have joined the Civil Disobedience Movement, CDM, leaving the education system in ruins. Local humanitarian volunteers continue to risk their lives delivering supplies through jungle routes, but air surveillance and drone strikes make every journey perilous. Civilians are increasingly targeted under accusations of aiding resistance forces. In central Myanmar, burnt villages and shallow grave have become grim reminders of the junta's scorched earth tactics. Resistance, adaptation, and counterattack strategies. Despite territorial losses, the PDF and allied ethnic groups continue to demonstrate remarkable adaptability. Learning from the Ukrainian and Syrian resistance models, they have improved the production and deployment of drones for offensive and reconnaissance purposes. Drone factories, often concealed in forested areas, now produce hundreds of small quadcopters modified to carry explosives. These are used to strike military convoys, artillery outposts, and even naval vessels along rivers. In Kayin State, videos verified by independent monitors show drone strikes on junta camps days after the Tatmadaw claimed victory. In addition to drones, PDFs are experimenting with improvised explosive devices (IEDs) that can disrupt supply chains. Roads leading to Mayawadi and Morlaman are regularly mined, forcing military convoys to slow their movements. Guerrilla warfare remains the resistance's strength, using speed, familiarity with terrain, and local support to offset the junta's heavy weaponry. Ethnic alliances are also solidifying. The Karen National Liberation Army, Chinland Defense Force, and Kachin Independence Army have coordinated limited joint operations, exchanging intelligence and weapons. Though these alliances are fragile and localized, they represent a united defiance against the junta's divide-and-rule tactics. Strategic and political dimensions. Observers from the Progressive Voice Myanmar report that the junta's current campaign aims to secure border trade corridors vital for economic survival. These include routes into Thailand, China and India. Control over border customs posts enables the regime to levy informal taxes, import fuel, and export timber or rare earth minerals, sources of hard currency needed to sustain its war machinery. Politically, the junta is attempting to project confidence ahead of planned local elections under its controlled Union Solidarity and Development Party. These elections, however, are widely dismissed by the opposition and international community as illegitimate. The National Unity Government, NUG, continues to operate underground and through XL channels, calling on citizens to boycott the process. Inside the army, morale is reportedly deteriorating. Desertions are increasing, and soldiers captured by PDFs describe poor food, unpaid salaries, and fear of drone attacks. The military leadership's reliance on air power underscores the limited willingness of ground troops to engage in prolonged battles. At the same time, China and Thailand maintain cautious neutrality. Beijing continues to engage both the junta and ethnic armed groups to safeguard its belt and road investments, while Thailand focuses on securing its border stability and containing refugee inflows. The long war ahead. Myanmar's conflict has entered a phase of attrition, with neither side capable of total victory. The junta's recent advances in Kayin State and KK Park may temporarily boost its image, but they have not altered the strategic balance. Resistance control remains firm in the heartlands of Sagaing, Chin, and northern Shan. For ordinary citizens, hope for peace feels increasingly distant. Villagers are trapped between two fires, subjected to military crackdowns on one side and revolutionary taxation on the other. Civil society organizations that once played vital roles in local governance have been decimated. The once vibrant towns of Mayawadi and HPAN now echo with the sounds of drones, helicopters, and distant explosions. International pressure has failed to yield tangible results. Sanctions, though symbolically important, have not crippled the junta's ability to import weapons through secondary routes. Russian-made aircraft continue to arrive, and ammunition flows from regional networks. Analysts warn that Myanmar could fragment further if the war continues at this intensity. Ethnic administrations in Rakhine, Kachin, and Chin regions are already functioning semi-independently, collecting taxes and administering justice outside the junta's framework. Civilian voices and the human cost. Amid the chaos, the courage of ordinary citizens stands out. Teachers continue underground education programs for displaced children. Medics run hidden clinics in caves. Farmers cultivate what land remains unmined. These acts of endurance, though often unreported, form the backbone of Myanmar's ongoing resistance. Testimonies collected by local media describe a population that refuses to accept military rule. A villager from Mayawadi told an interviewer, "They can burn our houses, but not our will. The revolution has entered our blood." Such voices echo across the nation, from the forests of Chin State to the streets of Mandalay. Still, the cost is immense. Thousands have been killed, tens of thousands imprisoned, and entire generations are growing up amidst war. Internet blackouts and information blockades attempt to hide the atrocities, but local citizen journalists continue to expose them through encrypted channels. Conclusion: a nation at a crossroads. The junta's renewed offensives in October 2025 highlight both its desperation and persistence. Tactical victories in Lay K Khor or KK Park cannot conceal the broader strategic failures of a regime isolated domestically and internationally. The People's Defense Forces, despite limited resources, continue to evolve, sustain morale, and challenge the junta's authority in ways that would have seemed impossible just 4 years ago. Myanmar stands at a crossroads between prolonged chaos and potential reformation. If the resistance maintains coordination and secures international recognition, a new phase of governance may emerge in liberated areas. But if the conflict drags on without resolution, Myanmar risks becoming a permanently fragmented state, a patchwork of warlord zones, military enclaves, and humanitarian deadlands. For now, the country remains in flames. The battles of Lay Khe Khor and KK Park are but chapters in a longer struggle that defines Myanmar's future. Every gain the junta celebrates is temporary. Every loss the resistance endures becomes a lesson in resilience. The war continues, and so does the people's unbroken desire for freedom. Disclaimer: Zeilengam Media. This report is a comprehensive news and analytical synthesis produced by Zeilengam Media for educational and journalistic purposes. All multimedia references, including video clips and field footage mentioned or summarized herein, are sourced from publicly available Myanmar-based media such as Mizima, DVB, and independent citizen reporters. Zeilengam Media does not own or monetize any video materials used for analysis. The content presented aims solely to inform global audiences of ongoing humanitarian and political developments in Myanmar as of October 21, 2025.
Umi kuluri ora piani. Isapare.